Today I've got a very special video for you. I am going on a tour of a mask factory, and I can take you along to show you a little bit about what the process is about and how these factories are adapting to now produce a product that they previously might not have. So without further ado, let's head inside. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually take a tour of what this factory used to produce before they started producing masks. You're seeing a number of factories across China that made unrelated products suddenly ramping up production on masks to meet the global demand. And the quality of those masks is really going to depend on what kinds of products they made before, the skills involved, and whether those skills were applicable and relevant to making masks. Well, we have a very unique situation here. What this factory used to do is it used to make the machines that make the masks. So they have a very detailed understanding of what the final product is supposed to be and how it's made. In this room here, you can see that they're still making these masks that will eventually make, the machines that will make the masks. And they are going to install them in their own factory. They're expanding and will continue producing some more masks. So with this kind of a detailed level of understanding, it puts them in a really unique situation to make some pretty high quality surgical grade medical masks. Okay, so we're going to enter one of their existing production areas. So what we're doing here is we're taking our outside shoes off out there, putting some slippers on. They're a little bit small, but they'll still work. And that's a pretty good sign. So we want to keep all of the outside dirt outside. And we're going to go into this clean area now soon and take a look at what everybody's doing. So we've got a buffer room here we're looking at. Oh, do we need to, what's the process here? 现在我们先要创一个这个吗？还是？在里面。哦，在里面 ，OK. So you've got multiple buffer rooms here before you get into the actual production area. Everybody? Oh, okay. 加大的，这个不同加大的吧。A little bit on the tight side, but better than nothing. It's very short. We'll be okay. All right, so we're all suited up and we're going to go into the production area now. Oh, we have to decontaminate first. Look at this. This is really high tech. Okay, how about we decontaminate together with the camera? Let's see how it goes. And here we are in the production. Oh. I had to close the door first before they open that side to make sure that they go in. So our hosts now they're going to go in. And they were specifically waiting for me to close this door. So they're quite strict about their practices. So this looks like it's the last step where they're putting the actual strings on, the bands on. 这个应该是最后一步，放这个东西。哦。那我们在哪里开始? Okay, we'll go down here, which is where they start first. So here you can see this is how the rolls of fabric come in. They come off of this, you have your multiple layers coming off of multiple rolls here. You can see right away that it's a 3-layered mask. And then you have them coming across here, where this machine presses them into their fold. After it's pressed into its fold, it comes through here and they get sliced off. They get the borders put on over here, come through this machine, and then they get put here. So what we will do is we'll continue down. We can see one that's working now. We can see this one that's actually pumping out some product right now. So they'll sort them out into groups there. You can see everybody's wearing gloves. So here we can see, what we can see here is they're stamping the ends on here with the machine. And they have a foot pedal each time they get it into position and get those straps on. So we've got them all separated in sections here. Quite a big area for putting the straps on. That looks like one of the more kind of labor-intensive parts of the process. So you're probably going to see more tables devoted to this than you are the first step, where it's just basically sorting the masks after they're folded into shape and cut. What you've got here is close to what's one of the final steps. They're being packaged into individual bags, into groups of 50, which then will be placed in the final box. So you can see here, they're slowly sorting through them. They're doing a QC check here too. You can see the guy over there very carefully checking each one, checking the folds, making sure that there's no issues, making sure that the straps have been connected correctly, and which looks like quite a labor-intensive process too in terms of speed when you're looking at the other steps involved. Now what you've got here is you've got the final step, everything going into the boxes. There's not really, most customers coming through, they're using the standard box right now. You know, the production time to put these in new boxes while everybody's trying to get masks in a rush is not a very high priority for the end customer. So they're using their own standard boxes, and then they'll go into master boxes with 1,000 masks per box. 每一盒是有1000那个口罩吗？
对，每一个蓝色的箱子就有。
哦，然后你有2个包装的方，哦，2000 masks per box，
一箱就有2000个。
哦，是不是也有这个选择，可以这样子，还是最后还要放在这个盒子里面？
最后要放盒子里面。
哦，
也可以这样选择。
也可以就这样子。
要盒子跟不要盒子都可以。
哦，如果没有盒子，是不是可以放多一点？哎，我想问一下，这个是50对吧？啊，这50个在里面。
对，50个。
它那个一个50的那个重量是多少？你知不知道？
重量大概在180克。
180克。
180克，对，180到184之间。
OK。
对对对。那每一个的毛重就在差不多3克，2.8到3克之间。嗯，对。好。然后我们包装都是英文，西班牙文跟法文都有设计供。
OK，
都是通用的一个包装。
哦，这个是已经在盒子里面对吧？
对对对，然后那个都有标明重量各方面的明细都有。
OK。
然后因为现在出口的都比较重视那个 Made in China 才能出口。啊，对对对，不能打医用这个字眼。对对对对。
Yeah, the thing is what's an interesting thing that's happening now is a lot of these mask manufacturers, if they put medical masks on the box, even though they are medical masks, the Chinese government is going to control it quite a lot when it's going out. They have to prove a lot of things. They have to go through a lot of tests in order to prove that. And so what you see happening is a lot of manufacturers who actually are pretty much medical grade masks, they're not putting it on the box and they're just shipping it out because there's customers that just need it so urgently that if they're told it's going to take an extra week or 2 weeks to get the proper certification and to pass through exit customs, a lot of them are saying just forget it, just send it over. And then some of them will do their own tests once it arrives in their country. Okay, so what we have here is a pretty unique opportunity. We can see what products this factory used to make before they started making masks. And that's something to keep in mind. There are a lot of factories in China that used to make something else that has changed to mask production now to fill the demand, the global demand. And the quality of those masks is largely going to depend on what did they make before? What level of skill did it require to make the previous product? And how relevant are those skills to mask making now? So you have some really big companies like BYD who have gone into mask making, and you can imagine that their quality controls and their processes are quite good. This particular factory is quite interesting because they used to make the machines that are meant to manufacture these masks. That gives them a very unique understanding of what the final product is supposed to be. And so now what they're doing is they're taking these machines and they're installing it across their factory, creating these clean rooms and producing the masks themselves. What we have in this area of the manufacturing plant are the machines which will eventually produce the N95 masks. So again, they used to produce these to provide to other factories, but they're not producing them themselves yet. They're getting ready for it. They're getting all of the sections ready. So right now we can only see the sections which are producing the surgical masks because that's what they're doing now. But eventually these will be put into operation as well. What we have here is another manufacturing room for the actual machines, and this was way more busy than the one upstairs. We actually filmed it a little bit earlier before lunch hour, but it was just too noisy to really get any commentary while we were here. But as you'll see in a moment, this is pretty packed. There are a lot of people in here. These are the machines that are going to be deployed pretty soon on multiple floors here to actually produce these masks. So what I've got here is I've got a few masks in my hand, and we'll do a couple of tests. There's a bunch of different tests you can do, but I'll focus on a couple of them. When you're looking at your masks and you're seeing what kind of quality they are, you definitely want to take one of them if you're concerned about the quality, open them up and make sure that you do actually end up with 3 layers, that you have a 3-layer system here. I'm going to try to, they're held together pretty well. Let me see if I can pry them apart and make sure. So there's 1 layer, 1 second there. Yeah, so we've got 3 layers here. 3 layers in this mask, and what we'll do now is the second simple test I want to do is I want to make sure it doesn't catch fire. So if this is working as it should, you'll probably see it melt a little bit, but we shouldn't be able to get a flame from it. And that's some of the requirements for a lot of these medical masks or to pass certain certifications. So let's give it a try. So it is melting, but I can't get a flame going, which is exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, even with that, I gotta be careful with that melting and falling in my hand. But yeah, so that's pretty good. That's a good result. The other quick thing that I want to do here, other than that, is I want to actually test to make sure it's holding water. Because obviously when you're coughing, you're sneezing, or somebody else is around you, you don't want water droplets or mist to be traveling through this. So a perfect ultimate test of that would be pouring some water in here. Let's see here. Okay. So if you see that, there's some water in there, slushing it around. And I'm going to, oh, it's pouring out the side, but not the bottom. The bottom is completely dry. There's nothing coming through the bottom. So, yeah, and then if we pour that out, you can see. So that's a pretty positive result too, but these are some of the things you can do to make sure you're not using something that is fairly low quality or that won't protect you from water droplets. So not bad, okay. Okay guys, that's it. That's the tour of the factory. I hope you enjoyed it. I was really excited about coming because of personal curiosity as well, particularly around the topic of why masks are so expensive right now. You know, I'm looking at how many new factories are popping up, how many masks are being produced, and I couldn't wrap my head around why the prices are what they are. You know, even here on the ground, they're in excess of 10 times the normal price. And after coming here, I have a little bit of a better appreciation for it. I can't help but think all of these floors they're building, all this renovation they're doing, all of these machines that they're building is for a short-term situation. Once this pandemic is over, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later, they're not going to need all of this equipment. They're not going to need all of this production capability. So, whereas when you build a normal factory, you build a factory and you're expecting to slowly gain your expenses back over a period of perhaps 3, 4, 5 years, they know this is a short-term thing. And I think that goes into the pricing, that they need to pay off this investment in a very short period of time. To further compound that issue, We have the material suppliers, the raw material suppliers for these masks starting to run low on stock. And of course, they're also trying to ramp up their supply, but that increases the price of the raw materials. The final thing, if you're overseas in Europe or in North America, of course, these masks are coming in by air shipment, not by ocean, because of the urgency of them and how quickly you need them. So even under normal circumstances, air shipping is going to be more expensive. Now we have the special circumstance of no passenger flights, and passenger flights sell their additional cargo space to shipping companies. So we no longer have that extra supply as well. So shipping prices have gone up. The wait time to even get on a flight, get your cargo on a flight, is sometimes a week or 2 weeks at a time. So it's just created a situation where these are pretty unfortunately expensive. If you are somebody else who's dealing with a supplier, hopefully this video can serve as an example of what a pretty good factory looks like. Going through the different areas to suit up and kind of clean off, and wearing gloves, and just what a high quality factory looks like. Then you can now use these images as a reference when you are speaking to your suppliers and you say, can you take some photos of your production area? And you can immediately see what is the difference in quality. And finally, my last intention of this video is to offset an unfortunate other video that was going viral. There was a video of somebody wiping their shoes on masks, and it was being sent around, and I was pretty sad to see people were representing China with that video. I did show some of the management here that video, and they actually said to me, they said, well, I mean, first of all, it's very clear that that is wastage. That's either masks that didn't go through the final QC checking, or it's excess material. There's no way that they could repackage that up and make it look new in a box. But of course, it was a pretty stupid thing that guy did and filmed. But what I want to do is show you that that's not the norm. Because during this time when we're all worried about this pandemic, we're all worried about this virus, the last thing we need is to worry about our masks also when we're putting them on. So hopefully that puts your mind at ease, and one way or another you found some value from the video. And with that said, I will see you guys next time.